The most important question I got was, what is your legacy? Not a material legacy, but if life stops now, how do you want to be remembered? What is your frequency legacy? The Phoenix Frequency podcasts are a result from that question. When all seemed burnt in your life, the fertile ash of a phoenix is filled with compassion, love, forgiveness, empowerment, intuition, wisdom, generosity, creativity, resilience, a balance of an evolution and involution, what is needed to rise. I am Nienke van Bezooyen and I live my Phoenix frequencies. On a weekly basis, I share my insights, my resources, and I have guests who phoenix themselves. If it resonates to you, you're welcome. Welcome to the Phoenix Frequencies. Today is Christmas Day 2023. It's the 11th podcast this year since I started. In the world wars in the last centuries, there were requests for ceasefires around Christmas. And this century, we face wars again. And if you feel powerless around these world events, just realize all of us can act based on who we are, what your skills are, what your expertises are. And in this last Phoenix Frequency podcast, I want to share what we all can do to start with. If you pause and listen, can you see how peaceful you are towards yourself? How is the tone of your self talk? Are you as honest and kind and encouraging to yourself? Do you speak authentically, uplifting to yourself to start with? And is this the same way you speak to yourself as you do to others, or as you want to speak to others? I only know from personal experience that ceasefires start within ourselves, and we can set an example and a tone for the rest around us. And maybe we have to start with some mediation. Mediation between our heads, our thoughts, our biases, and our hearts. You can recognize if a message comes from the head or the heart with a simple test. If there is any judgment involved towards yourself and others, or to a situation or an emotion, it's your head speaking. The heart is neutral at all times, based on experiences in the past, longer or not even that long, or biases pattern steps up. To protect our previous hurt feelings, we pull up an armor. And if you pause, can you see where you pull up your armor and why? If you ask your heart advice, maybe there can be a different response beyond your armor. And what if you can practice with 5 steps to reframe your responses for a more peaceful inner and outer outcome? So there we go. Stop and pause and listen to your heart. Are you ready? First thing you have to ask is, how do I feel? Really? So here you have to be self-honest and see if you're pretending something like a good feeling or even an over-responsive happy feeling. How are you really feeling? Secondly, is my response a contribution to overcome biases? So are you stuck with your own righteousness, your own judgmental thoughts, because it's too fearful to let that armor down? Just be aware of it. What's behind it? Can you overcome your biases? Thirdly, what do I want to contribute to if I let my armor and bias behind? So this is the next step. Get out of your bubble and see if there is something different to do. Fourthly, am I coming from listening to myself and others without interruption? So can you create enough space before you take your responsibility and see if your listening is there first or if your speaking is there before anything else. Fifth, is my response how I want to be known or remembered for? If you look back and see how you responded in situations, can you see if it's a repetitive pattern? Is that how you want to be there for others? Or is it just impulsiveness? Is that, if you look back, how you want to be remembered? The one who had a judgment always first, who wanted to bring negativity first, the ones who really wanted to step up for their own biases, and most of all, be righteous and judgmental at any times. Is that how you want to be remembered? Or can you be remembered for listening, being kind, showing compassion, follow through on what really needs to be done, but based on what you can contribute rather than what you want to be right about? How would the world look like if all people in this world could just take a pause, breathe, and listen to their heart rather than their ego, their proving? How would the world look like? Merry Christmas, everybody. And let your Phoenix frequencies help you to create miracles around Christmas, miracles to create ceasefires within yourself and in the outer world. I'm grateful that I've started these series, and I hope it would reach many just for the shifts, just for what's possible, based on the courage to rise above what we always did. Thank you for listening. To be continued in 2024.